Hey everyone and welcome to my channel. Today I'm gonna do my video of shame, my yearly video about the books that I really thought I would read this year, but have not. And this has really become a video of shame. I will talk about that in a second. But before I do that, I just want to mention that I have a cat on my lap. She's super needy and also very evil today. Like, I was trying to build my gingerbread house and she was licking all the gingerbread. I also tried to prepare some of my dinner and she was in every pot, I swear. So we're not having a very great day today. So if I look a little bit stiff, it's because she's heavy and it's like a tiny bit uncomfortable, but I also don't want to throw her out. So we're gonna talk about 5 books that I really thought I would read in 2024, and then I didn't, because we're so close to the end of the year right now, so I have a pretty strong idea of what I'm gonna read before the year's over, and these books won't make it. So first of all, we are going to go to last year's list and we're going to see how I did with the books I put on the list last year. Now, the first book I have on that list is A Spell of Good Things by Ayobami Adebayo. And since I got gifted this book this year, I did read it. It was a tiny bit of a disappointment because I just loved the first book by this author so much, but it was still a really good read. Then we had Monsters Volume 8 by Sana Takeda and Marjorie Liu. This was a book that I just had struggles with getting. I just couldn't get access to it for some reason, but I did manage to buy it early in 2024 and then I read it during the spooky season. Then we have Fearing the Black Body by Sabrina Strings. This is a non-fiction book about fatness and racism. And I absolutely loved this one. Would highly recommend if you are the least bit interested in this topic. And I have read this. So far it's looking quite good, but if we go down the list a little more, it's starting to get wonky. And with that, we're also starting the list for 2024. Because the next book I had on the 2023 list was My Contrary Mary by Cynthia, Brodi, Ashton and Jodi Meadows. I had reread My Lady Jane, so I would be ready for My Contrary Mary, and then I just did not pick it up. And I also did not do it in 2024, which is very unfortunate because I really love this series. This is like more of a series because it's like the same authors writing the same kinds of books. They do not necessarily have a link in the content. They're very different worlds, very different characters. But My Contrary Mary is linked to My Lady Jane. So I'm so behind on this series because by now there is 3 Mary books out, I think. And I have not read any of them. However, because of the humor of these books, I do have to be in a very specific mood to read them. And so far this year, what am I saying so far? This year, it just didn't happen. Then the next book is the one that really puts me to shame. Because since I have been doing this video, and that has been a couple of years now, this book made it to every single one of them. And I still have not read them. We will continue this trend, and I also just ripped the cover, I think, but it's The God of Lost Words. This is the finale to the Hell's Library series, and I just really want to reread the first 2 before I read this one, and I am not doing it. And I have been in the mood to do it so many times this year. But then I was like, well, it's gonna take so long to reread these 2 books and I wanna read down my TBR so bad. So yeah, it didn't happen, and this is really the lowest point. I do not want this book to be on this list next year. I cannot do it. So swear to God, next year I will read this series. Okay, that was the low point. Now let's continue on with some other books I thought I would read this year but haven't. And one is another series continuation. And last year I finally got back into this series And so I really thought this year I'm just gonna continue on. I had such fun getting back into the series, and that is the Temperance Brennan series by Katie Reichs. The next book I have to read is Bare Bones. I think it's the 6th book, if I'm not mistaken. And somehow, again, I did not read it. I don't know why. It is here. I have it in my hands. This is like such a fun series because it is like, you know, mystery thriller cases, because you have this setup with Temperance Brennan being an anthropologist. You have this scientific lens as well, and I love these books. I just haven't read this one. Then I am putting a book that almost made the list last year, and that is Happiness Falls by Angie Kim. I really enjoyed the first book by Angie Kim that I've read, so I wanted to read this one as well. Her books are also like family drama / thriller books, and the first one also dealt with the experience of being an immigrant in the US, and then it also always has a focus on autism, or like parents of kids with autism and stuff like that. So I thought that was an interesting perspective, even though you could probably debate how good the representation is. Like, I cannot speak to that, but I wanted to check out Happiness Falls. Still haven't done it, even though it has been out for a very long time now. So I'm putting it on this list as a reminder to definitely read it next year. And the stupid thing is that I have access to it through my library, so I should just sit down and read it before it gets taken away again, because like with Libby, they only have the books for a certain amount of time, and I'm scared that this time is running out. So I should really read this book. And then the last one is again a low point in a way, but I'm talking myself out of it a little bit. So hear me out. The last book / series on this list is Mistborn Era 1. Now, this was a series I had on my list of the 5 series I wanted to read this year. What happened is that I took part in a read-along, and so I read an additional trilogy this year that was not on my list, the Winnowing Flame trilogy. I have a reading vlog for that, you can go and check it out. But because of that, I'm telling myself that it's not completely horrible, that I probably won't finish this last series in 2024. I have started the first book. I'm around 80 pages in right now, so nothing fancy there, but I'm pretty sure I will at least finish the first one and start the second one, but I don't think I will finish the whole trilogy this year. But it's fine. It's fine. I will definitely finish it at the beginning of January, and you know, that's just how reading goes. Like, I am the biggest mood reader, so for me, sometimes I have like these very specific times in the year where a certain book makes sense to me. And if I don't read it during that time of year, it's just not happening. So I'm sorry to these books that I neglected for yet another year, or with some of these, like for the first time. So yeah. I hope this list will help me to get to these books definitely in 2025. I'm very hopeful. I just have to keep myself accountable. So I would love to hear what your book of shame this year is. Like, which book did you think you would 100% read this year and then it just didn't happen? Would love to hear about that. I also wanted to mention at the end of this video, I have just reached 1,000 subscribers. Thank you very much for that. And I am planning on doing a little celebration video. And if you want, you can ask me questions for that video. You don't have to. I do have a couple of things I want to talk about anyway, but if you have any questions that you wanted to ask me, then you can leave them in the comments of this video, or you can go to my community tab where I have a post about it as well, and you can ask the questions there too. I will probably film the video after Christmas, so you will have a couple of days to think of questions if you want to, but no pressure. Yeah, thank you so much for watching my videos, hopefully having fun. Leave a like or a nice comment, I always really appreciate those, and I will talk to you very soon. Just have happy holidays and stay safe and have a great time, hopefully with your loved ones. Bye!